Hello everyone and welcome back to my F2 2020 season for the round in Baku. So let's see the championship standings at the top of the screen. 8 points ahead of Felipe Drugovich, 17 points ahead of Matsushita. So those two having a good time. Last time out in Monaco we unfortunately had a no score, so it's crucial that we bounce back today and reclaim a bit of that momentum we showed in the opening couple of rounds. So through the first couple of corners in qualifying, not the greatest run through there, but as we skip ahead, heading into the castle section, a bit of a bump with the wall there on the entry, so really trying to push the limits on this lap. Hopefully we didn't do any damage to the front wing, but I think we just about got away with it, and now heading towards the line to complete our lap. We do go fastest of the few laps that have been set, but we'll go on board with a few other cars to see how their laps unfold. Tictum getting a little bit wrong there through the left to right swish, heading onto the straight. That's going to affect his lap time a little bit as he heads towards line. Mick Schumacher goes 7th fastest, so he's not able to beat us. Giotto 4th fastest, great lap by him, but Schwartzman will go to the top, so good lap by Robert Schwartzman. He hasn't been in the title fight so far, but he could get involved. And here comes PK, he's been consistent, he goes to 5th, so good lap by him.
As we wind down from the excitement of qualifying, here's a look at your top three: Schwartzman, Tsunoda and Marcus Armstrong. The grid is set then, so that just leaves the race itself. Join us tomorrow where we'll be live with all the action, and until then, goodbye.
So it's a great lap by Schwartzman to get pole by a very significant margin there, almost 3 tenths of a second. But as for the rest of us, we've got some work to do in the race to try and make up for that time deficit. But look at Trident, 6th and 8th for Roy Nissany and Marino Sato. Trident are yet to score points in this championship, so they could be on for potentially a double points finish and maybe a reverse grid pole as well if things go their way. So we'll have to see how it goes, but it's looking good for the Trident team here at Baku. But anyway, other than that, there's not a lot else to cover. Schwartzman moves up a couple of spots in the championship from... Wait, how does PK move up? Okay, this doesn't make any sense what that's saying. But anyway, Schwartzman will obviously gain a few points after getting pole position, so it's good signs for him and getting into the fight. But let's get into the race.
Baku never fails to disappoint fans of Formula 2, so hold on tight. The cars are set on the grid, and at any moment we'll be starting today's race. Welcome to Azerbaijan. This is not your usual racing circuit. It provides one of the most complete tests for the field. Sector 1 sports a set of 90-degree corners around the block, if you like. Sector 2 gets even tighter with the old city walls. Sector 3 just turns 16 to negotiate, and then 2.2 kilometers flat to the floor, full throttle in 6th gear, all the way to the end. Joining me today is a man who is no stranger to going fast, Davide Valsecchi of GP2 2012 fame. Great to have you here today, Davide. Are you enjoying yourself here in the beautiful city of Baku?
Absolutely, Alex. Baku is fantastic. It's so distracting. Have a check. The architecture, the narrow street. Easy to see why it's one of the most exciting circuits on the calendar. But Alex, street circuits can be unforgiving. I wouldn't be surprised if you see a safety car or two out during today's race.
Well then, after an exciting session yesterday, let's take a look at how the cars line up. Robert Schwartzman lines up on pole position, and it's Yuki Tsunoda in P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Armstrong, Ilott, Pedro Piquet, and Nissany, Giotto, Sato, Alesi, Guan Yu Zhou, Schumacher, Delatrat, Felipe Drugovich, and Galeo, Lundgaard, Deruvala, Samaya, and Artem Markelov, Matsushita, and Jack Aitken, Tictum, and Nikita Mazepin starts from the back of the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
So here we are in the grid then for a dry conditions in the feature race here in Baku. So the strategy, everyone will be starting on the super soft compound tyres and move on to the mediums to finish off the race. But anyway, let's get ready to go to the 5 red lights. And the lights are out. We are underway for the feature race here in Baku. It's a good start for Robert Schwartzman. We've got a bit of a bad one, and we have to try and defend on the inside line, and we do just about stay ahead of Marcus Armstrong in the ART, and we maintain P2. And now we can try and get back under the rear wing of Robert Schwartzman as we continue through these opening few corners, not close enough along the run to turn 3 to try and make a move. So we'll just have to play the patience game, try and inch closer later on in the lap. But yeah, for now we've gotten away cleanly. It's been a fairly, well, I would say boring start, but yeah, it's been a clean start for everyone here at the front of the grid. So we just need to try and stay close to Robert Schwartzman, which we're doing a very good job of there, just about pushing him through the little chicane. But as we continue on, we will eventually make the move down the inside of turn 3, not quite actually getting there. Schwartzman manages to hold on to the position for the time being, and we'll have to find another opportunity that may arise on the run into the first corner. We have a look, Schwartzman defends, and we're just going to bide our time. Once again, we don't need to overtake Schwartzman at this point in the race. We just need to stay close to him and find a much easier opportunity, which will eventually come along the straight. We're a lot closer coming out over the last couple of corners, and we get the move done quite easily in a straight line and move ourselves ahead of Schwartzman, but deep under the brakes, off circuit, and now Schwartzman's got the switch back and got the position back. So Robert Schwartzman, good awareness there, and we have to switch back down the inside into turn 3, and we'll make that move, and this time we'll cover him off and make sure that we've got this position booked in. But yeah, it was a little bit more difficult than it needed to be if we didn't run deep into turn 1, but we were very close on the front right corner and the left rear of Robert Schwartzman there, but we did manage to make the move cleanly. But it's not going to matter because Schwartzman's going to come back at us, zooming past in a straight line, and down the inside he goes. We can't really defend from it too well, and Schwartzman's back through and up into the lead of the race. So the Russian not giving up easily, but we're going to go back up the inside into turn 3, very late, grazing tyres there on the apex, but we do manage to just about squeeze through on the inside line and get back ahead of Robert Schwartzman. So this is a real back and forth battle here in Baku, and we're starting to be caught up by some other cars. Speaking of other cars, here's Callum Eilert, who's overtaken Schwartzman and now is going to zoom past in the straight line. We can't really do anything to defend. He almost covers us off on the racing line, eventually moves back to the defensive line, but we can't try and move there anyway. But along the straight towards turn 3, we'll go up the inside of Callum Eilert, just like we did to Schwartzman. Very tight on the apex there, but we will get back ahead of Callum Eilert and leave him to try and defend from Robert Schwartzman, who will be trying to make his way back up and fight for the lead once again. But a mistake there. Callum Eilert is pretty close, so we need to try and minimize these mistakes. But again, running deep into turn 5, and we're really slow on the exit. We've held up Callum Eilert. Schwartzman getting very punchy on the inside line there, moving all the way to the white line on the inside to try and make the move on Callum Eilert, and he's still there actually trying to make the move, and he's actually might get ahead heading into the castle section. So it's a great move there by Robert Schwartzman. Eilert has to back out on the inside line there, or he's going to run out of space. So it's a great move there, and Schwartzman's found his way back up into second position. But we're going to come into the pits actually a lap earlier than everyone else, but I've had enough of these tyres. This is I think the lap we were meant to pit on, but anyway, we actually need a front wing change. Apparently we damaged it at some point, probably when we hit the wall going into the castle section. But yeah, that's a bit of a pain that we have to do that, but it is what it is. It was obviously our mistake to damage the front wing, so we have to pay the price for it. But anyway, we'll keep up the pace and try and get an undercut to limit the damage from this front wing change. So yeah, a little bit frustrating to have to do that, but anyway, is what it is. We'll push on and try to reclaim some of those positions we lost throughout the rest of this race. Still a long way to go, the entire stint on these tyres. But out of the pit lane then, and we only overtake one car, Guilherme Samaya. So we've lost so much ground. Everyone who's pit on this lap, other than Samaya, has come out in front of us. Even Sean Galale, who actually had a pretty decent qualifying session. Still not in the points though for him. He is also yet to score. But when the second round of pit stops happen, we do actually jump quite a few of them round the outside of Roy Nassani in the braking zone there. That was very, very close on the front left corner with the Trident, and Nasani has lost a lot of ground, being undercut by so many cars. We're up into 12th, Nasani down to 13th. He must have lost a good 5 positions or more in that. Yeah, getting undercut there, but oh well, we get down the inside of Sean Galeo, and we very soon put the same move on Guan Yu Zhou, but we run a little bit deep this time. Guan Yu Zhou has the nose back in on the left hand side, going to get the nose ahead just about as we head into turn 2, so close on the apex there to the inside wall was Guan Yu Zhou, but he is not able to continue the fight along to turn 3. The safety car is out now, and that is because Sean Galeo has retired from the race with a mechanical issue in the dams. Quite realistic there, and yeah, Sean Galeo will not finish the feature race here in Baku. That will ruin his weekend, but as it stands, Robert Schwartzman is in the race lead, followed by I think Callum Eilot, so and one of the Charus cars up there as well. I assume that is PK. So yeah, it's a good day for Robert Schwartzman. He'll be looking to get into the championship fight, but on the safety car restart here, we are going to try and get down the inside of Felipe Drugovich, but he's going to turn defense into attack down the inside of Delatraz, who tries to defend and or try to maybe make a move on Alesi. He doesn't manage to do that as Drugovich was down the inside. Drugovich getting Alesi as well, so double move there for the Brazilian as Delatraz loses out to us and almost to Guan Yu Zhou as well. But as we continue on, we'll go down the inside of Felipe Drugovich. So Drugovich not quite actually being able to overtake Alesi, and we'll get the position from the Brazilian, and now we'll move on down the inside of Alesi into the first corner. We're trying to push him back onto the racing line, and now down the inside we should be able to make this move quite easily on the Frenchman and move ourselves up into 7th position, so well within the reverse grid range. But Alesi back around the outside trying to retake that 7th position, but not able to do it as we defend on the inside line, staying ahead of the HWA for the time being. But as we come around turn 2, bit of smoke coming out of one of the cars ahead. It might be Giotto or Sato. They were battling away. As Sato, what a disaster for the Trident team. Nasani dropping out of the points on strategy, and Sato with a mechanical failure. So that is an absolute disaster for Trident on a weekend. They could have scored big points and potentially could have fought for a good position in the reverse grid race. That is an absolute disaster for them. That actually kind of hurts to see that happen, but there it is. That is Sato out of the race, and the virtual safety car is out as well.
Maintain a positive delta. Virtual safety car is deployed.
But yeah, what a disaster for them. But as we continue on through this race, safety car goes away, and Lacey is right on it and manages to overtake us. But we'll try and get back down the inside of the first corner, very tight on the apex there. We run a little bit deep, and now Guan Yu Zhou, sorry, Louis Delatraz is down the inside into turn 2, and we'll try and get a switch back on him as we try and run towards turn 3. Can we re-overtake the Swiss driver at turn 3? He's going to defend the line. We'll have to try and make the move on the outside line here, but we've got the overspeed down on into turn 3, late on the brakes, and we'll try and make the move. Delatraz still tries to fight on the inside line, but we'll make the move around the outside. It's the better racing line, and we will squeeze him out here and retake that 6th position as it stands now that Sato is out of the race. But with 5 laps to go, Delatraz sends one down the inside. Great move by the Swiss driver there. We were very early on the brakes there, it seems, but we'll try and fight back to the inside of turn 4. Very tight on the apex there. There's not a lot of space on these corners around the streets of Baku, and we're still side by side as we head through turns 5 and 6. This is not a traditional place to go racing. We're costing each other so much time. We're never going to catch anyone in front of us, but we'll have the inside line heading into the castle section. We have to resolve it here, or we could be in for some major issues at the next corner, but we will just about get ahead of Delatraz coming out of turn 7. So as we continue on though, Delatraz down the inside into the first corner, and he will make the move on us once again, and we can't get the switch back this time. We can't get a good exit. We'll try and make move down the inside into turn 3, and we will just about get there, but Delatraz keeps the nose in around the outside, but we will just about get the position. But yeah, this fighting is costing us so much time. We're holding up a massive train of cars behind us now, and it's starting to get very, very costly. But it doesn't really matter at this point. All we need to do is hold this position, because we've already cost ourselves so much time. We're never going to catch any of the cars ahead, but a mistake there on the exit of the castle section, and now Guan Yu Zhou might be looking to make a move. I'm not even sure where he's come from in this race, but Guan Yu Zhou, as we go take a very horrible line through these next couple of corners, Zhou and Delatraz make the move, and we are down into what is currently 8th position. So we're on reverse grid pole. We can't drop any further than this, or we will ruin the second half of our weekend. Schumacher tries to make the move around the outside. We hold the inside line though and stay ahead of the German for the time being, but Schumacher and Lacey there trying to take advantage. But look in the top left now, Lacey, Schumacher, Drogovic and Daruvla all fighting over the 9th position at the moment. I don't know what's going on back there. There must have been 4 wide heading into that corner. I wish I noticed that, but I only noticed it in editing that those 4 drivers were switching around so much. But Daruvla has taken 9th for the time being. But yeah, I wish I knew what was going on back there, because that would have been cool to see them all battling away, because they all held 9th position, at least for a split second there, heading through turn 1. But anyway, we'll just have to wonder about that. We may never know. But continuing on through this final lap of the race, we just need to bring it home that all that battling has helped us get away, and we're not really under as much pressure. But Daruvla has really closed the gap through the castle section, as we were taking it very easily, and on the run to the finish line he's going to be right behind us. He's got the DRS though, and look at the overspeed he's got. We're going to try and squeeze him towards the wall, see if we can scare him off. We made contact, into the wall we go. We just about hold on to the 8th position, and that is a controversial ending to this feature race, but I think we may just get away with that. Daruvla gets the driver of the day. But yeah, that was not the way I was planning on that ending. That was not intentional. I just looked to the right to see where Daruvla was, and didn't realize how close we were pushing him to the wall, and spun ourselves across the front of him. But oh well, it's happened. Oh dear.
Well, what a drive that was to take the win for Prema today. Tell me, Davide, what was the key to this success?
It was all about being in the right place at the right time. If the safety car hadn't come out and bunched everybody up, I think we could have been looking at a very different result today.
As we look back on a thrilling race here today, we can now see the drivers take their places on the podium. It's a familiar sight by now, as it's another successful F2 win for Prema.
So Robert Schwartzman takes the race win for Prema. It's 2nd place for Callum Eilert, with Marcus Armstrong in 3rd.
So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. It's a good result for Yuki Tsunoda, who extends his advantage at the top of the championship. And so, driver of the day then, Davide Valsecchi, who do you think you'd go for?
Let's give it to Jehan Daruvala. That was a quality drive from start to finish. He can be proud of that one.
And here's how things are shaping up in the Teams' Championship. Carlin moved to the top of the table. Meanwhile, Prema have improved their position. A strong weekend for them as they fight their way to the top. Goodbye for now then, but we really are just getting started. Make sure you join us again for Lights Out tomorrow.
So there we have it. The feature race for Azerbaijan is complete, and yeah, could have gone better for us, to be honest. Obviously the mistake, that whatever it was, that gave us a bit of front wing damage, and then obviously having to change the front wing, probably the bigger thing there, causing us some issues in this race. But it is what it is, and we managed to recover from that pretty well, I think. But yeah, it's a little bit disappointing. But as far as the championship goes, Matsushita had a horrendous race, starting quite close to the back of the field. He must have, I don't know, got held up on his qualifying lap or something. But yeah, he was not his usual self in this round. And Felipe Drogovic as well, missing out on the reverse grid. So it's not a great race for us, but it was actually worse for our 2 main rivals, and maybe we'll have to be looking over at Robert Schwartzman, who may be in the fight now after taking a big 25 points from this race. I'm not actually sure who got the fastest lap in this one, but it's a lot of points for Schwartzman with the pole position as well. He will be very, very happy after a day's work here. So yeah, we'll need to keep an eye on that in the coming rounds, see where everybody else is at. But for now, we still are doing the job in this championship. But yeah, we can't let our guard down, looking at you know, the wrong group of cars, which might not be in the fight come the end of the series. We need to be you know, keeping an eye on the whole field, and you know, the likes of PK might not be in the fight now, but he's got so many wins in the sprint races that he is looking decent in overall points. So if he gets a win in a feature race, that could be huge for his championship. So yeah, we really need to, there's a lot of drivers we need to keep an eye on in this series, but oh well, we'll get into the sprint race now.
We've reversed the top 8 from yesterday's race to set the grid for the sprint race here today, and the drivers are almost ready on the grid down below. I'm Alex Jakes, and alongside me in the dry confines of the commentary box, former 2012 GP2 champion Davide Valsecchi. Tyre choice is important no matter what the conditions are, Davide, but do you see it having more significance today?
Oh, you know it will, Alex. Remember that in Formula 2 there are not intermediate tires, so deciding when to switch to the wet compound can have a massive impact on the race and your strategy. Nothing tests driver skill like the wet. I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do.
So here we are on the grid then for the sprint race here in Baku in the wet and rainy conditions. So it's going to be heavy rain until around the half-hour mark, and then it will turn to the light rain, drying up at the 90-minute mark. But the race, it won't even go for 90 minutes, so that's not really particularly relevant. So yeah, it's going to be a wet one today, so let's see what we can do. Here is a replay, just even getting started on the formation lap, and you can see just getting so much wheel spin, the car jinking to the side there as we tried to control the spin off the start. So that's a bit of a taster of what's to come on the start of this one. Let's hope we can just take it nice and easy and get a good start rolling off the grid.
Be patient and watch for the lights.
But yeah, we'll see if we can get away cleanly. I don't have high hopes though in these conditions. It's very, very tricky to get these cars off the line in the dry, let alone in the wet. But we go to the 5 red lights. And the lights are out. We are absolutely crawling off the start line trying to control the slip, but we've actually managed to make a pretty decent start, and we are going to hold the lead despite a bit of understeer through the first corner. Delatraz not able to make the move, and we will hold first place as we head through turns 1 and 2. So that is the most we could have asked for. I honestly was not expecting to hold on to this position, but we have managed to, and now we just need to try and minimize the mistakes and keep this car under control.
Position, front of the pack, Delatraz behind, pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now, 21 laps to go.
And I'm not entirely sure why. I just asked for a race update after 2 corners. Might have been checking who was behind or how many laps were in the race or something, I'm not sure. But anyway, we do manage to hold on to the lead through the first sector. So now, yeah, we just need to minimize the mistakes through this first few laps, try and stretch away from the rest of the field, and just hopefully have a nice calm race, and we should be able to bring home a fistful of points this time out in the sprint race. But yeah, for now we seem to be struggling for pace a little bit. Delatraz very close behind us through the opening phase, but as long as we can keep it clean, we shouldn't be in with too many issues. But missed the apex here through both of these corners after the castle section, and now Delatraz, look at the exit he's got so much extra speed. He's going to make the move down the inside. We have to leave the space for him. Guan Yu Zhou's going to make advantage of that too. We have to leave the space there, and now we're really slow heading towards this very awkward left-hander. Giotto tries to make the move to the outside. There's no space there. He spins us out into the wall. Giotto's got damage to his front wing, and that is an absolute disaster. We're going to drop to the back of the field. Thankfully, we're not out of the race like I thought we would be. The virtual safety car is out as well. We have to do our best impersonation of Mahivir Raghunathan to get out of that very tight spot there. Thankfully, we don't quite take as long as he did. There's the replay, and thankfully the hit with the wall was actually fairly light in the end, but that could have been a lot worse. But here we go, front wing change for Giotto. and a lot of work having to be done on his car, and it's actually, after watching this, very well orchestrated by the teams. The front wing change in Formula 2, here it is, slowed down to actually do this amount of work on the car with I think only 6 mechanics. It's actually pretty cool. So everyone has to sort of trade jobs, as it were. The front tire changes have to help out with the front wing change, and the 2 jack people, whatever they're called, have to are the ones changing the front wing. And yeah, I don't know, it's just quite cool to see all of that. But anyway, once we get going in the race, once again, we do actually, under the virtual safety car, close right up to the back of the train again. So we were kind of allowed to make up all of that time. The delta time in the top right remained green once we caught up to the back of the train. So that's quite helpful for us as we go up the inside of Sean Galale into the castle section, as he's held up in a huge train of cars. So that's a nice move for us, and that's one less car to overtake for the rest of this race, up into 20th position now. Still a long way to go before we can get into the points. There's the move from above the helicopter camera, maybe, or just on the tall building, I'm not sure. But anyway, continuing on, we catch up to one of our championship rivals, Matsushita, who's had a dreadful weekend, one to forget for our fellow Japanese driver, and we'll overtake him quite easily along the straight. Or at least I thought we would, but at the top end he seems to have gained a bit more speed than us, and he's almost inching ahead. But we will make the move into the first corner and get ahead of Nobuharu Matsushita. And as we try and control the car on the exit, it's very slippery conditions out here in Baku, and on these tight corners it's quite tricky to lay the power down. But we do make the move, and now we can try and chase down Nikita Mazepin, who is somehow behind Sato, who started from the back. So it's not a great day for Mazepin, qualifying last and losing positions in this race as well.
Great maneuver. You made it look easy.
But anyway, as we continue on, we go up the inside and make the move on Sato, and it's not the weekend he deserved after such a good race in the feature race. Come unstuck with a mechanical issue. So yeah, feel really sad for Marino Sato. He deserved a much better weekend than what he is having at the moment, and in the rainy conditions it is very difficult to even see where you're going, let alone overtake cars. But anyway, continuing on, we will make the move down the inside of Artem Markelov as we head towards turn 1, and that's a reasonably easy overtake on the Russian, and we move ourselves up and into 16th position at the moment. Next up, Jack Aitken in the Campos, and we'll make a move from a long way back into the first corner, but we will make it stick and get ourselves up into the top 15. So we've passed about a quarter of the field, and that's Jane Deruvla from ahead of us with a mechanical issue. That's another position for us, but our teammate is now out of the race. That's very disappointing for him. But that said, if it does dry up towards the end of the race,
Safety car is out. We need to form up at a reduced pace.
yeah, if it does dry up, we won't need to double stack now, but that's little consolation. But anyway, on the restart, we go down the inside of Lundgaard and a whole bunch of cars, and I've gained 5 spots into the first corner. That is an insane overtake. Samaya, Nasani, Tiktum and Drogovic all in one overtake. And here is the replay. You can't really see much of it though through all of the water spray, unfortunately. So yeah, that's is a bit disappointing not to see that. But here's the onboard with Christian Lundgaard, the first car we were trying to overtake on the restart. Samaya, what are you doing there, man? I think he was trying to make a move on Nasani ahead of him. And here's the onboard with Samaya, just yeah, trying to get the nose down the inside, and quickly found out that someone else had the same idea. Nasani as well had a little look, but yeah, that was very, very close for us. And the Campos of Samaya, but thankfully we didn't make contact and got away with it. But yeah, that could have been a lot worse. What is going on with the water too, by the way? Why does the water spray only start at the last moment in these replay cameras? But anyway, here's the final replay on board with Felipe Drogovic. Look how far back we came from and how close we got to smashing into the back of Mick Schumacher ahead. But thankfully we did not crash into the back of Schumacher, and we can make the move up the inside into turn 3. And now we are up and into the points, up into 8th position in this race. So with those 2 overtakes on the safety car restart, we have made our way up into the points in this race. Next up is a Lacey. We're going to make the move around the outside into the first corner, and we should be able to make this move and get ourselves up and into 7th position. Next up is the Kramer of Robert Schwartzman. I don't know why that took me so long to remember what team he drove for. It's very confusing. It looks a bit like a Charus. But anyway, we go up the inside of Schwartzman and make our way up into 6th position. Next up is Callum Ilott.
Nice overtake.
So these are the cars we were trying to battle in the first race, but anyway, we try and stay close to Callum Ilott as we head through the first couple of corners. Look at the visibility, there is absolutely none as we head into turn 2. We somehow find a gap down the inside of Callum Ilott, very pushy there, and not leaving him much space to work with on the exit, but we do make the move on Ilott. The virtual safety car is out now, and that is for Artem Markelov, who is out of the race with a mechanical issue. So he was already behind us, so not going to have any major effect on our race.
Wait for green.
But next up, we can try and make a move on Callum Ilott as soon as we can, trying to stay as close as we can to him here, but not able to get a run along here towards turn 7. So maybe we'll have to wait until the main straight, but if we can stay close to Callum Ilott through these next few corners, we might be able to make a move on him very, very soon. I feel like we've gained a little bit of time on him through the... That's not Callum Ilott, that's Guan Yu Zhou, you absolute turkey.
The radar's showing a clear patch on its way. There's about 10 more minutes of this rain.
We just overtook Callum Ilott like a minute ago. But anyway, Guan Yu Zhou defends to the inside as we head towards the first corner. We go around the outside and we should be able to make this move, but Guan Yu Zhou's still there on the inside line. We have to leave space for him, and he's just got a bit more momentum than us as we head towards turn 2, and we'll have to leave space for him here again, but we've gone very wide here, and a bit of wheel spin on the exit. We'll see Guan Yu Zhou maintain the position and move himself back up into 5th position. Callum Ilott gets us as well on the restart, 4th position rather for Zhou, 5th for Callum Ilott. But we'll see if we can make a move up the inside of Ilott, who defends more at the last minute there. That was a bit dodgy for Callum Ilott, but an equally dodgy dive bomb for us sees us back up into 5th position. Now let's see if we can make the same one on Guan Yu Zhou. Very close on the dive there, but we do make the move on Guan Yu Zhou, and now we can try and chase down the group of cars ahead of us. But this is the fight for the race lead. Pedro Piquet has made the move to the inside on the final lap on his teammate Louis Delatraz. Delatraz has led the entire race, but hitting some tyre wear, and now Piquet has made the move, but Delatraz not giving up. He's the car on the outside line as they head side by side on the run towards turn 3. Delatraz may be able to retake this position. He's got a bit of momentum as we watch them battle away up towards turn 3. Who's going to break later here? As still side by side, Piquet's got ahead for the time being, but Delatraz will have the inside line for turn 4. Will Delatraz be able to re-overtake his teammate? He gets the nose ahead briefly, but has to leave a bit of space on the exit for his teammate, and unfortunately that's compromised him, and Pedro Piquet has taken the lead rather of the Azerbaijan sprint race on the final lap. Great move there by Pedro Piquet. Took him half a lap to get it done, but Pedro Piquet has stolen this one at the last moment and has proven once again he is the king of Sundays here in Formula 2. And here on the run to the finish line, Delatraz might lose another position to Marcus Armstrong, who's going to drag race him to the finish line. I think Armstrong's going to get there, you know. We're going to cross the line for P4, but Delatraz has lost 2 positions on the final lap. What a disaster for him. And yeah, Marcus Armstrong absolutely stealing one there. But crazy race. We get the driver of the day, but that's really disappointing for Delatraz, and for the Charus team just to miss out on the 1-2 as well. But yeah, Pedro Piquet, great finish to the race by him, and you cannot fault his drive today at all. That was a great drive through the field a bit for him.
A great win then for the Charus team today. And I have to wonder, Davide Valsecchi, just what set them apart from the competition here.
Simply, they are just a better driver in the world. Here in Formula 2 we know the cars are the same, so it's not down to machinery. They can just handle the weather better than everyone else. I mean, they can have the throttle open longer, they can push more, brake later, and are able to handle it all. They make it look like they have a much faster car, but it's a pure skill behind the wheel. Really incredible driving.
Looks like they're on their way out onto the podium now, and what a result this is. And a popular one with the crowd as well. Great stuff to see the Charus team on top here today.
So it's Pedro Piquet who takes the race win, with Marcus Armstrong stealing P2 on the line, with Louis Delatraz in third, making it a double podium for the Charus team.
After this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. It's a good result for Yuki Tsunoda, who extends his advantage at the top of the championship. And so, driver of the day then, Davide Valsecchi, who do you think you'd go for?
Let's give it to Yuki Tsunoda. That was a quality drive from start to finish. He can be proud of that one.
And here's how things are shaping up in the team's championship. Carlin have extended their lead at the top of the standings. Another team that will be satisfied with this race is Charus, whose good result moves them further up in the championship. It was great having you with us for this weekend. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. We'll see you when Formula 2 returns.
So there you have it, that brings an end to the race weekend here in Azerbaijan and the Baku city circuit. So we overall extend our championship lead to 22 points over Felipe Drugovich, who still sits in second position after not a great weekend by his own standards. But I'm sure he will bounce back strong in the coming rounds. I think France may be next, I'm not sure. France or maybe Austria, actually. I think France is off the calendar. I can't remember. But yeah, there is where the race went wrong for us. But we managed to recover pretty well both in the feature race and in the sprint race after different incidents in both. So yeah, somehow, I don't know how, but somehow we didn't get damage from that incident and managed to find our way back through the field. So yeah, I can't be too disappointed with this race. It was actually a lot of fun to make our way past everyone and get back up into the points, especially that move on the safety car restart. If it wasn't for that safety car and making that move on the restart, I don't think we would have gotten the points, or maybe just some edge points. But yeah, other than that though, it was a bit of a disaster, as I mentioned earlier, for the Trident team. They could have scored big points this weekend, but unfortunately it didn't go their way, and they ended up coming away with a big fat donut. But as for the championship fight, as I said, 22 points ahead of Felipe Drugovich, who is only 2 points ahead now of Piquet. As I mentioned, he's sneaking his way into the title fight on the Sundays here, and now with Robert Schwartzman only a further 2 points back, and I think Matsushita and Daruvula, Matsushita and Daruvula still in the fight as well, within a round worth of points. There is still a long way to go in this championship, so it could be any one of us, or it still could be someone from the outside. We're yet to see much from Callum Ilott and Mick Schumacher as well. So anyway, other than that, there is nothing else left to cover, so thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.